We really have a paucity of evidence. So finding this part of a city is just, an Egyptologist's dream.
Ever felt a chill when hearing tales of ancient curses? Get ready to dive deep into Egypt's most haunting mysteries. In this video, we'll explore dark artifacts that may carry ominous forces from the past. Discover the legend of the dagger of Thutmose III, a blade forged from a meteorite said to doom anyone who wields it. Uncover the story of the unlucky mummy, a relic so infamous it's rumored to have caused the sinking of the Titanic. From archaeologists struck by sudden misfortune to artifacts believed to unleash plagues, these stories blur the line between history and the supernatural. Starting off this list, in our number 10 spot, we have the unlucky mummy. The unlucky mummy isn't actually a mummy at all. It's a hauntingly beautiful painted wooden mummy board of an unidentified woman tucked away in the British Museum in London. But if walls could talk, the tales this artifact would tell might send shivers down your spine. Back in its early days at the museum, staff members began reporting unsettling occurrences. Loud banging noises echoed through the exhibit halls at night, seemingly emanating from the mummy board itself, as if something trapped within was desperate to break free. One intrepid photographer decided to capture its image, but when he developed the photo, he was met with a horrifying surprise. The serene face on the mummy board appeared twisted into a malevolent grimace, eyes glaring with otherworldly intensity. The eerie events escalated when a museum guard was found dead under mysterious circumstances after his night shift near the artifact. Whispers of a curse began to circulate among the staff, and the museum allegedly couldn't get rid of the mummy board fast enough. It said they sold it to an American archaeologist who arranged for its transport to the United States aboard none other than the Titanic. Some believe that the cursed mummy board sealed the ship's fate, its malevolent energy contributing to the tragic sinking that shook the world. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Osiris statue. In 1971, deep within the sands of Saqqara, an experienced Egyptologist unearthed a small yet mesmerizing statue of Osiris, the ancient Egyptian god of death. The artifact was remarkably well preserved, its intricate details capturing the solemn gaze of the deity as if time had scarcely touched it. As dusk settled, the archaeologist and his assistant returned to their modest quarters in a nearby village. Drawn by the statue's mysterious allure, he decided to keep it with him for further study. Later that evening, he headed to the bathroom to freshen up after the grueling day, and moments passed before his assistant was jolted by harrowing screams echoing from the bathroom. Rushing in, he found the archaeologist gripping the sink basin, his face etched with sheer terror. Quote, "He stood there as if paralyzed," the assistant recalled. Quote, "I grabbed him by the shoulders and guided him to the couch. Then I ran to call for help." Medical professionals arrived to find the archaeologist stricken with sudden paralysis on the right side of his body, his speech lost to an inexplicable affliction. Despite their efforts, he passed away the very next day. Whispers began to circulate among the locals and the archaeological community. Had the statue of Osiris unleashed an ancient curse? Tales of doom befalling those who disturb sacred relics resurfaced, casting a shadow over the discovery. Was it a mere coincidence, or did the god of death extend his reach from the realm of the dead to claim another soul? In our number 8 spot today, we have the Egyptian relic. In 2007, a chilling tale unfolded involving a German man who visited the legendary Valley of the Kings near Luxor. Enticed by the allure of ancient history, he pocketed a small, intricately carved Egyptian relic as a keepsake from his trip, but what seemed like a harmless souvenir soon became a harbinger of doom. Upon his return to Germany, he was struck by an inexplicable fatigue and fever that baffled doctors. His condition rapidly deteriorated into paralysis, and shockingly, he passed away soon after. Before his death, or perhaps just after, his stepson received the artifact along with a desperate plea. Believing that a pharaoh's curse had claimed his stepfather, the stepson anonymously returned the stolen carving to the Egyptian embassy in Berlin, hoping to restore peace to his family's tormented spirits. This eerie incident mirrors the notorious legends of curses befalling those who disturb Egyptians' tombs, like the mysterious deaths that followed the opening of King Tut's tomb? Could it be that an ancient curse still lingers, waiting to unleash their wrath on unsuspecting souls? In our number 7 spot today, we have the mummies. In 1699, a Polish nobleman embarked on a voyage from Alexandria, his ship's hold carrying an unusual treasure: 2 ancient Egyptian mummies he intended to study for their reputed medicinal properties. As the vessel navigated the serene waters of the Mediterranean Sea, an unsettling atmosphere descended upon the crew. Late at night, the nobleman began experiencing eerie visions, spectral figures drifting through the shadows of the ship, their eyes hollow and fixed upon him. Whispered voices echoed in the corridors, and unexplained chills ran down the spines of seasoned sailors. Realizing that the mummies might be the source of these otherworldly occurrences, he made a swift decision. Under the cloak of darkness, the mummies were cast overboard into the depths of the sea. No worries about the history there. Remarkably, as soon as the waves swallowed the ancient remains, the haunting ceased and an uneasy calm returned to the ship. This chilling account, recorded by Louis Pennecher in his treatise on embalming, leaves one to wonder, did the restless spirits of the mummies seek vengeance for their disturbed slumber? It's tales like these that blur the line between history and the supernatural, reminding us that some artifacts might carry more than just the weight of the past. In our number 6 spot today, we have King Amos I's mummy. In the lively halls of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, a young boy grappling with a severe illness found himself irresistibly drawn to the ancient wonders on display. Amidst the towering statues and glittering artifacts, he paused before the mummy of King Amos I. As he locked eyes with the pharaoh's preserved visage, something incredible happened. A warm sensation washed over him, and a newfound energy surged through his body. Miraculously, his long-standing ailment began to fade, leaving doctors completely confused by his sudden recovery. Filled with awe and gratitude, the boy immersed himself in the world of ancient Egypt, eager to uncover more of its timeless mysteries. Could this mummy have possessed healing powers, or was this just a remarkable coincidence? Next, we are talking about the lion cubs. There is something downright eerie about stumbling across 2 perfectly mummified lion cubs dating back 2,600 years, especially when they show up in a sprawling ancient cemetery south of modern-day Cairo. Archaeologists at Saqqara recently uncovered these tiny 3-foot-long bundles wrapped in linen and tucked into ornate wooden boxes. This jaw-dropping, first-of-its-kind discovery didn't come alone. The site also revealed a bizarre menagerie of mummified wildlife, including cats, cobras, crocodiles, and even a massive scarab beetle, plus over 70 delicate cat statues crafted from wood and bronze. The fact that these cubs were prepared with the same care as human mummies raises unsettling questions. How important were these animals in Egyptian spiritual life, and what purpose did they serve in the dusty halls of the afterlife? While mummified cats are old news, complete lion mummies are almost unheard of, and the rare glimpses offered by CT scans haven't solved the puzzle of which other wild cats joined their ranks. The fact that lions once roamed Egypt and even lived in royal palaces only adds to the strangeness, teasing experts with yet another ancient mystery that refuses to be neatly explained. In our number 4 spot today, we are talking about the gold-tongued mummies. In the sands of Osiris Magna, archaeologists unearthed a secret that left them speechless. Mummies with mouths of gold. Not golden teeth, no, but tiny, perfectly crafted tongues of pure gold resting on the lips of the dead. It's like something out of an Indiana Jones movie, right? But this is real, and it has experts scratching their heads. Was this a bizarre form of ancient bling? A way to guarantee smooth talking in the afterlife? Or maybe a dark ritual we haven't even begun to understand? These golden-tongued mummies are rewriting the rules of ancient Egyptian burial practices, and with every new discovery, the mystery only deepens. What secrets did these people take to their graves? And what else lies hidden beneath the sands of time? Next, we are talking about the tattooed mummies. A time-worn priestess with intricate tattoos etched into her leathery skin isn't just a stunning find, it's a direct challenge to everything researchers assumed about ancient body art in Egypt. These permanent symbols, once reserved for modern imaginations, have turned up on mummies like the renowned Amunet, raising big questions about their purpose. mummies. Were these tattoos protective charms, markers of hidden status, or some form of spiritual medicine? Decoding the mysterious ink is definitely no easy task. The complex designs refuse to yield a clear narrative, leaving us grappling with hints of a language that's been lost beneath centuries of desert dust. Next, we are talking about the elongated skull mummies. Some Egyptian mummies exhibit unusual cranial shapes that have sparked speculation. While artificial cranial deformation was practiced in various ancient cultures, definitive evidence is scarce in Egypt, and its presence would raise more questions than answers. Something about these elongated skulls stops you dead in your tracks. Egyptian mummies whose heads don't fit the mold of what we expect from the land of Nile. Archaeologists know that in some ancient cultures, people deliberately shaped skulls to achieve certain ideals of beauty, social status, or spiritual significance, but solid proof of such customs in Egypt remains elusive. If these stretched craniums were intentional, what possessed someone to transform a human skull into such an unusual shape? If not, are we facing genetic anomalies, weird burial conditions that distorted the bones over time, or something even stranger hiding in the historical shadows? And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the prosthetic toe mummies. There is more to a few Egyptian mummies than dried flesh and dusty bandages. Some were buried with prosthetic body parts that rival modern craftsmanship. One striking example comes from the Theban necropolis, where archaeologists uncover a lifelike wooden and leather toe built to help its wearer walk with ease. This finely engineered artificial limb wasn't just for show, it suggests that ancient Egyptians understood complex biomechanics and tailored medical solutions long before we gave them credit for such skill. Were these high-quality prosthetics reserved for the elite, or were they more common than we might think? Each new discovery forces experts to rethink what kind of medical know-how Egyptians packed into their iconic tombs and how much there is still left to uncover. In our number 5 spot today, we have the dagger of Thutmose III. The dagger of Thutmose III is more than just an ancient artifact, it is a chilling legend that has captivated historians. This ceremonial dagger, belonging to one of Egypt's greatest warrior pharaohs, is crafted from an iron meteorite, giving it an uncanny aura as if forged from the stars themselves. Discovered hidden away in a secret chamber beneath a forgotten temple, the blade remains impossibly sharp, its surface etched with hieroglyphs that no scholar has been able to fully decipher. Tales abound of those who have dared to hold the dagger. Archaeologists and tomb raiders who met mysterious and untimely ends shortly after coming into contact with it. Accidents, sudden illnesses, and inexplicable disappearances have all been linked to this mysterious weapon, fueling whispers of a pharaoh's curse that transcends millennia. Is the dagger merely a relic of a bygone era, or does it serve as a deadly conduit for ancient vengeance? In our number 4 spot today, we have the curse of Tutankhamun's tomb. In 1972, the eerie whispers surrounding King Tut's curse stirred once more, capturing the world's imagination. To honor the 50th anniversary of the tomb's legendary discovery, a collection of the young pharaoh's artifacts was set to journey from Cairo to the British Museum in London. The night after overseeing the delicate handling of these ancient treasures, the director of antiquities at the Cairo Museum unexpectedly passed away, sending shockwaves through the archaeological community. Rumors swirled that the curse had claimed yet another victim, but of course the ominous events didn't stop there. The crew aboard the aircraft transporting the artifacts began experiencing inexplicable misfortunes. 3 airmen who had interacted with the relics suffered sudden heart attacks shortly after the flight. Each year, on the exact anniversary of the flight with King Tut's possessions, he endured a heart attack until the final one proved fatal. Was the pharaoh's curse reaching out from the sands of time to exact vengeance on those who disturbed his eternal slumber? In our number 3 spot today, we have Abu Bilo. The tale of renowned Egyptologist Zahi Hawass takes a haunting twist when connected to the mysterious site of Abu Bilo. One day, while transporting ancient artifacts from this archaeological dig, Hawass received devastating news. His aunt had suddenly passed away. Exactly 1 year later, on that same unsettling date, his uncle died unexpectedly. This pattern didn't stop there. The following year, again on the identical day, his favorite cousin met an untimely end. The eerie sequence of events couldn't be ignored, and soon newspapers buzzed with whispers that the curse of the pharaohs had targeted his family, although he personally dismissed these claims, stating, quote, "Fortunately, there is really no such thing. The chilling coincidences left many wondering whether some ancient curse had been unleashed. Could the artifacts from this site carry a malevolent force that transcends time, or were these tragedies merely ill-fated coincidences?" In our number 2 spot today, we have Ka-Ika's curse. Deep within the ancient sands of Saqqara lies the tomb of Ka-Ika, an official from Egypt's mysterious 6th dynasty. This burial site isn't just a relic of the past, it's wrapped in spine-chilling legends that have intrigued and terrified adventurers for centuries. Etched into the very stone of his mastaba is a haunting warning, quote, "As for all men who shall enter this tomb impure, there will be judgment. I shall seize his neck like a bird, and I shall cast the fear of myself into him." These aren't mere words, they're a formidable curse aimed straight at the hearts of would-be tomb raiders. Stories swirl about those who ignored this dire message. Explorers met with sudden, unexplainable misfortunes after trespassing. Some say his spirit still guards his resting place, ready to unleash dread upon anyone who dares to disturb his peace. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have Anktifi's curse. Deep within Egypt's shifting sands rests the tomb of Anktifi, a provincial governor from the chaotic First Intermediate Period, time where the Old Kingdom's unity was fracturing. His burial site isn't just a monument to his status, but a fortress guarded by some very ominous words. Etched into the very stone is a stern warning, quote, "Any ruler who shall do evil or wickedness to this coffin, may Hemen not accept any goods he offers, and may his heir not inherit." The ancient Egyptians believed such curses held genuine power, calling upon the gods to protect the deceased and unleash divine wrath upon defilers. Tales whisper of those who dared to violate his tomb, only to suffer inexplicable misfortune, sudden illnesses, financial ruin, even untimely deaths. Anktifi's tomb stands as a chilling testament to how the spiritual and physical worlds were intertwined, using the threat of supernatural retribution to safeguard eternal rest. Starting off today in our number 10 spot, we have the Screaming Mummy, also known as Unknown Man E. There is a mummy whose face looks forever trapped in a silent scream. Mouth open, head thrown back, and no one knows why. Dubbed the Screaming Mummy, this grim figure found in DB 320 is an unsettling break from the polished, elegant norm of Egyptian burial customs. He got no comforting rites, no royal pomp, just a hasty embalming and a suspiciously bare-bones setup that makes his afterlife look more like a rushed cover-up than a dignified farewell. Some think he could be Prince Pentaware, mixed up in a scandalous plot against Pharaoh Ramses III. Others wonder if he was the victim of a sinister curse or a brutal crime. Yet, after all the DNA tests and forensic scans, experts still can't say for certain what forced his body into that nightmarish pose or why he ended up lying in his tomb screaming without a sound. Next, we are talking about the mysterious KV-55 mummy. A battered coffin found in the famous Valley of the Kings shouldn't look like it was thrown together at the last minute, but that's exactly what archaeologists uncovered in the tomb KV-55. A mummy so badly decayed it's a miracle any scrap of it survived. Experts have argued for ages over who this poor soul could be. Was it Akhenaten, the controversial pharaoh who dared to worship the sun, or some lesser-known royal from the same era? Sure, DNA tests link the remains to Tutankhamun's family, but that hardly clears things up. Was the burial a deliberate insult, a desperate attempt to erase somebody's legacy, or something else entirely? All these contradicting clues, the rough treatment, and the glaring lack of the usual funerary honors are a slap in the face to what we thought we knew about how Egyptian royals were laid to rest. Next, we are talking about the Unknown Woman A. Most Egyptian mummies reflect carefully orchestrated afterlives, but Unknown Woman A looks more like the aftermath of a sudden, violent disaster. Her body, found in the same location as the Screaming Mummy, has broken bones, a haphazard embalming job, and was tucked into a coffin never meant for her. She has no carved name, no fancy amulets, just desperate linen wrappings that hint at panic and fear rather than the usual reverence. Was she a disgraced royal tossed aside in political chaos, a victim of palace intrigue who ended up in the wrong tomb at the wrong time, time, or some tragic figure whose name wasn't worth remembering. The mystery lingers, with every crooked limb and missing inscription pushing researchers deeper into a puzzle that they still can't solve. Next, we are talking about Nesper-nub. Buried for nearly 3,000 years, the mummy of the priest Nesper-nub carried a bizarre secret that no one caught until cutting-edge scans peeked beneath centuries-old wrappings. Instead of a neat, ritual-approved burial, he ended up with a shallow, misshapen bowl cemented to his head by hardened resin. None of the known mummification customs explain this odd accessory. Was it a makeshift tool placed there to catch dripping embalming fluid that unexpectedly hardened too soon? Whatever the reason, attempts to pry it off must have failed. His skin was damaged at the back of his head, suggesting some frantic effort to remove it before the embalmers finally just gave up. They proceeded as if nothing had happened, layering the wrappings and locking this weird blunder into history, confident it would never see the light of day. Modern technology has changed that, and now experts are left scratching their own heads at this strange, unprecedented twist in ancient funerary practice. Next, we are talking about the mother. A shocking discovery in 2021 flipped everything experts thought they knew about ancient Egyptian burials. A mummy, once identified as a male priest, turned out to be a pregnant woman who'd carried her unborn child for more than 2,000 years. This unexpected twist raises a swarm of unsettling mysteries. Why wasn't the fetus removed like other organs, and what did this mean for her journey into the afterlife? There's no fitting answer yet. Researchers are still struggling to make sense of the cultural, spiritual, or medical reasons behind this anomaly. Did her pregnancy grant her a unique status, or is it simply a rare oversight in the embalming process? Imagine an entire Egyptian city vanishing beneath the sea and staying hidden for nearly 2,000 years. That's exactly what happened off of Abu Qir Bay near Alexandria. Recent underwater excavations revealed the ruins of Canopus, a city once known for lavish festivals and religious rites that attracted people from across the ancient world. What divers found beneath the waves was eerie. There were massive stone statues lying headless on the seafloor, coins scattered across the sand, marble figures with limbs missing, and even carved docks and warehouses that looked like they were abandoned in a single moment of chaos. Archaeologists believe earthquakes and tsunamis swallowed the city whole, locking away its treasures for centuries. Even today, many of the relics remain too fragile to move. They sit underwater, preserved but out of reach, like a time capsule of disaster. It's disturbing to realize that a place once filled with music, rituals, and life now rests silent in the dark, its secrets still locked away from the public. In 2008, archaeologists digging in the ruins of Akhenaten, in the city built by the pharaoh Akhenaten, found a tiny object that didn't look like much. It was a whistle carved from the toe bone of a young cow. At first, it was catalogued and quietly stored away, but when researchers finally re-examined it years later, they realized that it was over 3,300 years old and was far more unsettling than it seemed. This wasn't a toy. It was likely used by a guard or police officer to control access to the sacred tombs being built nearby. Replicas proved the whistle made a sharp, piercing sound, the kind that could stop workers in their tracks. What makes it disturbing is the glimpse it gives us into the control and surveillance that existed even in the ancient world. A simple bone whistle, hidden in storage for years, turns out to be the echo of authority and fear in one of Egypt's most sacred places. In the 1800s, archaeologists began unearthing mummies in the Fayum region with something highly unusual: incredibly lifelike painted portraits covering their faces. Unlike the stylized, stiff art of ancient Egypt, these paintings looked almost like photographs. The eyes were hauntingly realistic, the expressions deeply human, but what disturbed experts most was that some of these portraits looked like they belonged in a modern art gallery rather than on 2,000-year-old mummies. Imagine a delicate hat made of organic stuff, surviving thousands of years just because it was forgotten in storage. This is the story of a sun hat found in Ilahan in the Fayum region in Egypt back in 1888. It's dated to be between 2,100 and 2,400 years old, so roughly from the Greek or Roman period in Egypt. Experts believe it was likely worn by a Roman soldier or someone under Roman influence adapting to the Egyptian climate. What makes it disturbing or eerie is how fragile textile artifacts usually are. Most textile pieces decay very quickly unless the conditions are perfect. This hat survived because the ground was very dry, but for over 115 years it was just in storage at Bolton Museum in the UK, almost completely out of sight. Its survival seemed almost miraculous, not because it had supernatural properties, but because of how unlikely it was that something so perishable would continue to exist. And now it is finally on display. In the late 19th century, archaeologists working in the ancient Egyptian city of Oxyrhynchus discovered an enormous collection of papyrus manuscripts buried in the sand. We're talking hundreds of thousands of fragments. Among them were poems, lost plays from ancient Greece, and even religious writings that never made it into the Bible. What disturbed scholars most was how many of these texts contradicted what we thought we knew about the ancient world. Some writings hinted at secret rituals, while others contained stories that were simply too strange to classify. The sheer volume was overwhelming, and for years, most of the collection was hidden away in storage at Oxford University. Even today, researchers estimate that less than 10% of the papyri have been translated, meaning countless secrets are still locked away. In 1907, archaeologists uncovered a Middle Kingdom tomb containing 2 mummies. At first, the discovery seemed ordinary, but when researchers examined the remains, they found something shocking. The mummies were preserved with extraordinary care, but their DNA revealed that they weren't actually brothers by blood. One was of Egyptian descent, while the other had Nubian ancestry. Their lavish burial together in a tomb meant for close relatives challenged long-held assumptions about Egyptian family structures and identity. The unsettling discovery suggested that ancient Egyptians may have deliberately blurred the lines of kinship, perhaps for political or ritual reasons. The artifacts from the tomb were quietly kept from the public for decades, as the findings didn't fit the clean narrative of Egyptian history being taught at the time.
Now, this may not look like much, but what if I told you it was made thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago? This is the Sabu disc, a very strange ancient Egyptian artifact believed to date back to around 3000 to 2800 BCE. It was discovered in 1936 in the Saqqara necropolis, specifically in the tomb of an official named Sabu, which is how it got its name. This disc is made from schist, a type of stone known for its durability, and as you can see, it has a unique design for the time. It looks very modern, like a broken piece of machinery or something. Some researchers think it could have been some sort of ceremonial object, given the fact that it was found in a tomb. Others think that it might have had a more practical function. But the advanced design of this thing might mean it could have belonged to a more sophisticated technology that's just been lost to time. And did the Egyptians even build it themselves, or was there some extraterrestrial influence? Could the ancient Egyptians have been in contact with advanced beings from another planet? Well, that's pretty much what this whole video is about. The Abydos carvings found in the ancient temple of Seti I and Abydos seem to depict this mix of traditional hieroglyphs with some seriously strange images. When you look closely, you might notice that some of these carvings look a lot like modern vehicles, like a helicopter, a submarine, a jet plane. One of the things looks a lot like the land speeder from Star Wars to me, and to a lot of other people online. The sort of eerie resemblance to things we see today, excluding the land speeder, unfortunately, has led to some wild theories. One of the most popular ideas is that these carvings were depictions of some of the ancient Egyptians' advanced technology, possibly thanks to extraterrestrial visitors. Imagine aliens coming to Earth thousands and thousands of years ago and sharing their tech with Egyptians. It's just a fun idea. And if that is true, we also gotta ask, who were these people? Or I guess, what were these people or things? Were they from another planet? Or could they maybe have been time travelers from our future? Take a look at this odd coin. What historical politician is that supposed to be exactly? Looks a lot like an alien to me. So there's been this story circulating online about this collection of coins found in Egypt that seem to depict aliens. The coins apparently date back to the 1st century BCE and feature a humanoid figure with large eyes, a tiny mouth, bald head, your classic gray. There are also coins with your typical flying saucer carved into them. The coins were supposedly discovered by a group of construction workers who were renovating a house in southern Egypt. Now, while digging in the basement, they stumbled on a small box filled with these coins, all in surprisingly good condition. After the find, the coins were taken to a local museum for further examination. Archaeologists dated the coins and concluded that they were likely minted in Egypt. Now, are these coins evidence of ancient alien contact? Did the ancient Egyptians carve their extraterrestrial visitors into their money? Well, sure, there are some spooky artifacts and mysteries surrounding ancient Egypt, but these coins are hoaxes. At least I'm 99.9% sure. I don't know, there's always that small chance though. Well, this is an odd looking creature, isn't it? On March 21st of 2016, a post on the website Worldwide Science Stories claimed that archaeologists had discovered a, quote, alien mummy inside an Egyptian pyramid. The story came from sources who wanted to remain anonymous. According to the report, the mummy was found by archaeologists near Lahoun while exploring a small pyramid linked to the 12th dynasty of Senusret II. This alleged alien mummy was said to be between 150 and 160 centimeters long, supposedly dating back over 2,000 years. Now, apparently the details about this mysterious find weren't disclosed right away. And again, a source from the Egyptian Department of Antiquities confirmed the discovery but insisted on remaining unnamed. Now, it's an odd looking mummy, definitely looks like your classic alien to me. The large oval shaped eyes, the small slit for a mouth, very reptilian, and apparently inscriptions found near the tomb referred to the creature as Oxyrhynchus, a name interpreted to mean star or sent from heaven. Now, this is a pretty controversial story, as you can probably imagine. A lot of people think this one is a hoax, but it isn't the only strange looking mummy found in ancient Egypt. There have been lots, so is it possible that there are other ones that have just been covered up? Who knows? The Tuli Papyrus is a really cool find. The story starts back in 1933 when Alberto Tuli, who is a curator at the Vatican Museums, discovered a roll of papyrus in Cairo. This document is said to date back to the time of Pharaoh Thutmose III around 1480 BCE. But here's where it gets really strange. After Tuli passed away, this scroll just vanished without a trace, and years later an Italian Egyptologist named Boris de Recewaltz claimed he'd found a transcription of the Tuli Papyrus, and according to his translation, the text tells an incredible story about a day when a large disc appeared in the sky. This disc was about 164 feet long and 16.5 feet wide and gave off a really awful smell. Then more discs kept appearing, shining brighter than the sun. The pharaoh ordered incense offerings to appease the Egyptian god Amun-Ra and commanded that the event be recorded for future generations. Thus, we now have the Tuli Papyrus.
In the Cairo Museum, hidden away from display for years, is a mysterious carved stone slab covered in what some researchers claim looks like a map. It was nicknamed the Dashka stone. The strange part? Some believe the lines and patterns on it resemble river systems and geological features of Egypt that would not have been known thousands of years ago. Even more disturbing, a few claimed it even shows areas that could only be mapped with aerial knowledge. Mainstream Egyptologists insist it's just decorative or symbolic, but the controversy around it led to the artifact being locked in storage rather than displayed to the public. Whether it's an ancient oddity or evidence of forgotten knowledge, the fact that it's rarely studied makes it all the more mysterious. Discovered in the late 1800s at the site of Akhenaten, the Amarna letters were clay tablets written in cuneiform that documented correspondence between the Egyptian pharaohs and other rulers of the ancient Near East. At first glance, they look like routine diplomatic texts, but a closer reading revealed something deeply unsettling. They contained desperate pleas from vassal states begging Egypt for military aid, warnings of invasions, and even references to mysterious groups like the Hibiru, often linked to early Hebrews. These records painted Egypt not as an invincible empire, but as a kingdom struggling to maintain control. The fragile image of ancient Egypt as unstoppable was shattered, and for years, many of these letters were hidden away in archives. They revealed a far more chaotic and vulnerable world than people were comfortable admitting. In 1954, archaeologists found a massive cedarwood ship buried at the foot of the Great Pyramid of Giza. It was sealed in a limestone pit and perfectly preserved for over 4,000 years. At first, it seemed like a stunning treasure, but the more experts studied it, the stranger it became. The ship was fully functional, large enough to sail, yet there was no evidence it had ever touched water. Instead, it appeared to be a symbolic solar bark meant to carry Pharaoh Khufu into the afterlife. What disturbed some researchers was the craftsmanship. The ship was built with incredible precision, using a construction method that seemed far too advanced for its time. The discovery was so strange that for years the boat was hidden from the public, only restored and displayed decades later. Even now, many of its mysteries remain unsolved. In 2015, archaeologists announced the discovery of an underground tomb in Abu Sir that they believed was dedicated to the god Osiris. The tomb included a large central shaft leading to a chamber with a black sarcophagus surrounded by smaller burial chambers. The layout was eerily similar to ancient descriptions of the mythical tomb of Osiris himself. Some scholars dismissed the connection as symbolic, but the imagery inside was disturbing. There were carvings depicting demons, protective deities, and scenes of resurrection. The sarcophagus was empty, but the fact that the tomb matched so closely with myth raised unsettling questions. Was this just a symbolic temple, or had someone once been buried as a living embodiment of Osiris? For years, the site was closed to the public, accessible only to researchers. The secrecy has only fueled speculation that there was something inside the tomb the world wasn't ready to see.
Next, let's talk about Egyptian hieroglyphs in general and some of the odd places they've been spotted, like on crashed UFOs, for example. The infamous Roswell incident in 1947 and the Rendlesham Forest sightings in 1980 were both said to have strange symbols carved into the sides of the UFOs. Some witnesses claimed to see what looked like Egyptian hieroglyphs on the sides of both craft, incredibly strange, and the symbols discovered on the Roswell UFO are said to have matched the ones found on the Rendlesham object. One specific design is apparently a triangle with two spheres that appears on both. So why would UFOs have Egyptian-looking symbols etched into them? In the Dendera temple complex, there's a famous relief with an image dubbed the Dendera Light. The image depicts a snake emerging from a lotus flower, seemingly held up by a pillar with human arms at the end. But you gotta look more closely to see that. What's immediately obvious to us modern folks is that this looks a lot like a giant light bulb, specifically a Crookes tube, an early type of light bulb that was invented in the 19th century. There's a pretty uncanny resemblance, really, but is it just a coincidence? Or is this ancient artwork actually depicting a piece of advanced technology? Another interesting thing about this one, the specific room featuring the Dendera light is the only one in the entire temple with no evidence of fire-burning lamps. In every other part of the temple, archaeologists found residues from what looked to have been lamps, but not here. So if the room was completely dark, how did the ancient Egyptians light it up? And why would they go to the trouble of carving such an elaborate image if it was just going to be hidden in darkness? Well, maybe the room wasn't pitch black. Maybe they illuminated it with some other, more advanced method. The Saqqara bird is a cute little sculpture, but it's also led to some pretty interesting conversations. Discovered in an ancient Egyptian tomb near Saqqara, this wooden figure is around 2,200 years old. Now, at first glance, it looks like, a toy bird, but looking closer, and it also kind of looks like a model airplane. The wings look a lot more like a plane than a bird's wings. So it's got people wondering, did the ancient Egyptians have some knowledge of flight? Back in 1969, an Egyptian doctor named Khalil Messiha proposed a pretty cool idea. What if this bird was actually a model of an ancient flying machine? People have crafted replicas of the artifact to test how aerodynamic it is, and some of these models have been found to glide pretty well when thrown. If it's not an ancient depiction of a plane, that kid back in the day had a pretty cool toy. Well, we're talking about another find in Saqqara. Near the Pyramid of Djoser, archaeologists came across 24 coffin-shaped black boxes carved from solid Aswan granite. This rock is incredibly tough, so tough that even modern tools have trouble scratching it. So, the fact that some of these boxes have intricate hieroglyphs etched into them is pretty impressive. Not only that, but each box is massive, weighing over 100 tons. Some people think the craftsmanship is so advanced that it feels impossible for ancient Egyptians to have done it alone. And for those who believe in alien involvement, there's a theory that these designs came from somewhere else or were inspired by something advanced. And of course, I can't do this list without talking about the Great Pyramids themselves. Now, while I'm of the belief that ancient Egyptians were just crafty and way ahead of their time, even I can't deny how enticing the idea of extraterrestrial beings assisting in their creation is. Now, aside from how incredible the pyramids are and the mystery surrounding how they were built, we also gotta talk about where they're positioned. The three main pyramids are aligned in a way that closely matches the stars in Orion's belt. The Egyptians definitely had a sophisticated understanding of astronomy. Even more fascinating is the fact that the sizes of the pyramids seem to correspond to the brightness of the stars. Two of the pyramids are nearly identical in height, while the third is about half as tall. In the night sky, two of the stars in Orion's belt shine brightly, with the third star being dimmer, mirroring the layout of the pyramids. The pyramids are also positioned in a nearly straight line with the North Magnetic Pole, so it's very impressive that an ancient civilization had such an advanced knowledge of science, geometry, and astronomy. They had to have had skills and understanding similar to what we have today to design and construct the pyramids with such perfect alignment. And again, the size of the pyramids themselves is also just remarkable. So what do you all think? Did they have some help from extraterrestrial visitors, or were the ancient Egyptians just that ahead of their time?